to South Asian Environment Dialogue. All of you who see this program regularly know that we talk about the range of issues on environment and climate change in this program. And this program is brought to you by the Climate Channel in Canada in collaboration with the Plurals media channel and also the noTVbangla, a very, very prominent YouTube channel in Bangladesh. The reason why we are doing this program for the last 6 months, and from the ministers to technocrats to bureaucrats to experts, all have been part of it. The reason is simple. South Asia has many problems of environment and climate change which need to be talked together. But unfortunately, our geopolitics sometimes don't allow us to do that. I won't say we, the politicians, the governments, but we, the common men, we, the experts, you, the experts, can definitely talk about it together on the issues of importance. And today we'll be talking about an issue like that. I think an extremely important issue. The issue is solar. I call today's program Solar Power, the Solar Age. Is the solar age coming? I'm saying this because with thermal power and the climate change issues are now getting more and more prominence and thermal power being pushed back, the market is grabbing and grabbing. And also the nuclear power has under some scanner. And recently in Uttarakhand in India, we have seen the hydropower issues. So in any way, not only by design, also by default, solar is kind of grabbing the center space in the energy mix of the world. So if that's the situation, how good the situation is and what is going to happen tomorrow. So we have a fabulous panel to talk about this. Let me not waste any more time and go to the panel. Our panel today is Dr. P Gon Choudhury, an international expert on solar, the solar man of India, who have started it way, way back. He's also being kind of advisor to various governments in India. Ashton winner. Welcome, Dr. Gon Choudhury, into the show. Welcome, Dr. Gon Choudhury, into the show. We have with us Dr. Dipal C. Barua. He's another very senior person in the subcontinent working on solar and energy issues. He's currently the president of Bangladesh Solar and Renewable Energy Association. And formerly, he was the founding managing director of the Gramin Shakti and a very, very senior person, as I said, in the subcontinent working on these energy issues. Welcome, Dr. Barua, into the show.
Good evening, and special regards to P Gon Choudhury. He's our teacher in this sector. Thank you.
Thank you. I have with me Dr. Hina Aslam from SDPI, Sustainable Development Policy Institute, Pakistan. She is an ecologist and energy expert and being a major part of the think tank. Dr. Aslam, great to have you in the program and looking forward to have your opinion on not only Pakistan, but the South Asian energy situation. Welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you so much for having me in, and I'm looking forward to the discussion.
Absolutely, we are all looking forward to it. I have with me Samrat Sengupta. Samrat is the Climate and Renewable Energy Section Head of Center for Science and Environment, a major think tank not only in India and South Asia, but globally, being led by Sunita Narayan. And in fact, Sunita was part of our last week's program. It's a weekly show. Sunita was there last week. And welcome, Samrat, to the show. You have been in this show before. Great to have you back again. Welcome, Samrat.
Good evening, Jayanta. Thanks for having me into the show. Looking forward for an enriching discussion.
Great. And I have with me Mr. Sumon Nag. Mr. Sumon Nag is the Chief Revenue Officer of the Vikram Solar Limited. Vikram Solar happens to be one of the biggest industry on solar in India. And we're really looking forward from Mr. Nag to know about the scenario in industry and market about the solar. Welcome to the show, Mr. Nag.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and I'm really looking forward to the next 1 hour.
Without further ado, let me start with Dr. Gon Choudhury. Dr. Gon Choudhury, let us talk with India, because India is kind of a bit of an elephant in the room in South Asia. We have a huge target on solar, I think 100 gigawatt by 2022. But this COVID and all, I was told that the installation has been affected to a certain extent. So let me start. how is the situation of solar on ground in India right now?
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Basu. Solar, yes, we do have a target of 100 gigawatt by the year 2022. We have done quite a lot. Up to now, almost 40 gigawatt, installation has been completed. Most of the projects are all land-based projects. Some rooftop. Many of the states have done a lot of rooftop projects, and rooftop projects are becoming very popular day by day. All the states, they have formulated the guideline, and in some states there are incentives also for rooftop project. In West Bengal also,
I'll be coming to the rooftop later.
They have declared the rooftop solar policy.
I'll be coming to the rooftop later because that is one part I would like to kind of talk in details. But generally, overall situation, are you confident that India is going to achieve the 100 gigawatt target by 2022? With this COVID and everything?
I think in the pipeline, all the projects are now. Already, we have already evaluated projects, some small issues for which the projects have not been taken up in the field. But I'm sure within the next 2 to 3 months, a lot of mega project, ultra project will come up, and we will be able to achieve the target. May not be 100%, but we'll be very close to the target.
Okay, so we'll be close to the target. We'll be close to it. Fine. I'll be coming back to you on the rooftop and other things, but let's go take Samrat on the table right there. Samrat, CSC has just done an analysis on India's environmental scenario, and solar and energy was a very important part of that. You will read that, I know. What is the situation according to you in India right now on solar?
Solar, we have solar has taken the center stage of the power development. And recently we have crossed the cumulative wind capacity. We have just crossed it marginally, the total cumulative wind capacity, and solar become the
I think solar is about 10% of our energy mix now?
Yeah, almost more than 10%, but it is not energy mix as installation capacity wise. And yeah, energy mix with wind and other renewable, it constitute near to be 15%. May not be the exact.
So let's concentrate on solar only. So what's the ground reality now?
Solar, yes, the development has concentrated on the large, ultra land-based grid-connected project. But we have really missed the decentralized system. We have among this 100 gigawatt, 40 gigawatt was rooftop. And what is the total installation we have done? 6 gigawatt. And we have
way back on rooftop.
Rooftop, because there are a lot of other problems.
We'll be coming to the rooftop later. I'll be coming specifically on rooftop. So, let's talk in general now.
Solar, we are doing sufficiently well. Yes, COVID has created a in between roadblock, but the other issue is the supply side of it. Almost 70 to 80% of our solar supply side depends on import, and that's the security challenge for India. Overall energy security as well.
And that's a very, very important point. And I think that applies
for very important point. We have
Bangladesh and Pakistan as well.
We have lost the bus to make ourselves at least some substantial portion of supply security within the country. And though we are
so by supply side, what exactly we're meaning? That we need to kind of import a lot of materials from outside to do the solar?
For a project of ultra mega size, almost 80% material is getting imported across the border. Though like Sumon's company, and there are a few others who have manufacturing facility, but it has not been scaled up, not on a corporate side. On a country level, it has not been scaled up. We have around 12 to 15
gigawatt.
I'll
be coming to that data.
And 3 gigawatt of manufacturing capacity.
Samrat, but just tell me that how badly COVID has affected the solar installations in India, according to you?
COVID has affected mostly the smaller project.
Okay.
But as there is a cash flow issue, there is a financing issue. The larger project getting delayed due to the supply problem. Initially, there was a stock piled up in the international market, which was used for a lower tariff purpose.
Okay.
But later on, to the production getting affected at the international market and other geopolitical reasons.
Okay, fine.
The supply got
supply side. Let us walk through the other important countries in South Asia and before coming to the industry part. Let me start with Dr. Aslam first. In Pakistan, I think I was looking to the data. I'm not sure whether the data I got hold of is right or not. You can confirm that. Pakistan has around 1.4 gigawatt of solar installation. If that is right, what is your target? And you were trying to reach by 2030 around 12 gigawatt. That was being told. So what's the ground reality, Dr. Aslam, in Pakistan right now on solar?
Yes, thank you so much. I think lots of data and lots of information is being done on this, because this change has only come in, these last couple of years, when there was a huge insight on how do we, combat the climate change and meet the NDC commitments. And we have this new alternative renewable energy policy where it aims to have 20% of renewables by 2025 and 30% by 2030. In another plan, there's a plan to, kind of increase again the share of fossil fuels in comparison to renewables after 2030 by 2047. So these two plans are kind of, in discussion of how to take it forward, because of course, the CSOs and the think tanks and also the other institutions are looking forward to how to coordinate these targets together. So, of course, there's a huge potential in Pakistan, especially we have this recent mapping study that we had from the World Bank, where they have identified major locations where the solar potential is going to be huge, and there will be lots of potential, I think, and I think by 2030, as the data says, it will be by 60 gigawatts or something. And the government has been quite...
by 2030, the data I got hold of is around 13 gigawatt is being the target, and I think 2050 is a huge target of 45 or 46 like that.
I mean, having... For 20, there is a recent data that shows that out of 22 solar power plants that have been, with a combined capacity of 89 megawatts, they are in operational already, and with excess of lots of private sector investment coming in, especially with the onset of these this policy that we have. So of course, just like other countries, we do have lots of potential, and the government is very keen to harness that potential with all the efforts that could be done. In terms of, with the technology transfer in the country in regards to promoting renewable solar panels. Yeah.
Okay, let's come to that later, because we will be definitely talking about the government policy. I think that's all across South Asia need to be talked about. So the government's domestic policy and also the international policy in solar. We'll come into that, but let me know from Bangladesh. Dr. Barua, you have been a senior man in the energy sector in the South Asia. What is the scenario in Bangladesh, and how Bangladesh government is planning to scale it up?
Thank you. Actually, in Bangladesh, one of the largest projects called Solar Home System from 1996. This is the energy access model. 6 million system we have installed in Bangladesh. This is not only largest in Bangladesh, the largest in the whole world, because of the solar home system.
These are off-grid. These are off-grid home system. Off-grid. Okay.
At that time, the energy situation, especially the electricity situation, was very bad. But now the government, last 7-8 years, have done wonderful job. Now around 95% people have got electricity, but the solar home system is still growing. And out of solar home system, now we are gradually doing a solar irrigation pump. We have 1.13 million diesel ram pump. Now we are gradually changing solar irrigation pump and solar street light and megawatt system also. Bangladesh is a small country, land is very fertile. So we have 170 million people. So government is not allowing land for big solar projects, but still 1,000 megawatt already approved. Out of this, only 100 megawatt connected to the grid line. But the government recently approved the net metering policy. So the rooftop is growing gradually. And I believe the irrigation and rooftop and the floating solar and other is very, very encouraging. Now government decided a roadmap by 2021 to 2041, how many megawatt. So there is expansion and exponential progress. So their calculation 40,000 megawatt.
Support. How much right now the installed capacity of solar in Bangladesh?
Right now, Bangladesh around renewable energy 750 megawatt, 200 megawatt around from the hydro, but remaining the solar. But every month is growing. Basically, solar home system 300 megawatt, remaining coming from the utility.
It includes the solar home system.
Includes the
550 megawatt you were talking about includes the solar home system.
But the government has a policy 10% of the energy mix by 2021. But electricity
2021 10%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now it's 3.25% only we achieved. So we are lagging behind the target. But government recently decided in their 5-year plan, 5-year plan, 2021 to 2025.
Okay, I'll come into the government policy later because I'll be talking about it specifically the government policy. But let's take it quickly know the market situation. Mr. Nag, let you be on the loop and tell us about what the market of the post-COVID, or I can't say post-COVID, hopefully it would have been post-COVID, it's still ongoing COVID, but COVID being settled down a bit and vaccination is on. What is the scenario right now in the market on solar?
So thank you, Jayanta. I think briefly I will touch upon India and then a few of our other markets. I think India, like some of our esteemed panelists have said, last year was a tough year because of COVID. Rooftops and the smaller projects suffered quite a lot. The larger grid-connected projects in India also suffered because of delays and site access issues and also because of financing issues. Some of these projects didn't get financed. That there is an issue with, there are ongoing issues with distribution companies delaying payments, and that is actually seeping into the funding part of the business. So I think last year, if I really got my numbers correctly, India would have done in 2020 4.5 to 4.6 gigawatts. Considering that typically India does anything between 8 to 12 gigawatts a year, it's a significantly less number last year. Some of those projects will be done this year. So we expect
let me understand that you are saying that if it would have been business as usual, India would have installed about 4.4 gigawatt last year, but now it has been cut down to about 2 gigawatt or even less.
No, it installed about 4.5 gigawatts last year. It would have been double of that in a normal year.
50% of whatever. Okay,
that's right.
Please continue. Yes.
So I think the market, there's a lot to say about the India market. There are lots of challenges, but when people talk about challenges, they forget that solar came from about 10 megawatts in 2010 to about 38 to 40 gigawatts in 2020 in the period of 10 years. It's a phenomenal growth. I've been part of this industry for close to 15, 16 years. And in the early part of my career, solar was like a science project.
Yes,
so I think there's a
it was a demonstration project in the colleges and universities.
Exactly. So there's a significant rollout of solar. Cost of solar, obviously, in India is one of the lowest in the world.
What about the other parts, according to the market industry, other parts of South Asia, say Pakistan, Bangladesh, and others?
I would say our esteemed panelists, of course, are much more knowledgeable than I am on South Asia. Vikram Solar has done some projects in Nepal, for example, and in Sri Lanka. Unfortunately, not so much in Pakistan or Bangladesh, though we are so close. Our home state is West Bengal. But I would say largely we see South Asia itself as underserved in solar. And obviously
with a lot of potential.
With a lot of potential.
Okay, that's a very key word, underserved. Just before I go to Dr. Gon Choudhury to start rolling about the policy issues, quick thing is that market-wise, cost-wise, solar power versus thermal power, where do we stand right now?
So thermal power, if you add all the costs of thermal power and a new thermal power in India, coal-fired plant in India, it would be close to about 4.5 to 5 rupees per unit. I think solar, even if you take, some people say that, oh, you don't have, you have, long-term access on free open access and stuff like that. Even if you add all of that, I don't think solar is coming close to that number. It's much lower than that number.
So you are saying that solar favorably is being on favorable side on the market part. Great.
It's at the moment reached a stage where it's not a question of should we do solar, but how do we do solar.
Yes, that's as I said, the solar age. We are starting the solar age. So it's basically a new age. Solar age is starting. With that point, let me come to the Dr. Gon Choudhury. Dr. Gon Choudhury, you have been one of the persons. What so Nag is showing, when the solar was in laboratories, solar was in practical colleges and schools. You started, I think, way back in 90s. People might not have thought about it. Now, what do you think about the policy right now? Because climate change, we have to give this credit to Government of India. We may criticize Government of India on various counts, including in climate change. But one of the issues where I think government has done reasonably well is solar. Because of the solar's huge target and doing everything. So Dr. Gon Choudhury, what do you think about that? I think Dr. Gon Choudhury, there's some network issue. So let me put this question to Samrat. Same question, Samrat, that what the policy point of view, how you see Government of India doing, and what's your point? Let's hear Samrat first. Samrat, and then we'll come to Gon Choudhury. Please, Samrat.
Taking the point.
And also solar vis-a-vis the thermal power. We are still saying that coal is one of our major energy mix. I'll come to the same question to Dr. Aslam and Dr. Barua later, but let's start with Samrat and Dr. Gon Choudhury very quickly.
Taking the point what Sumon was talking about, it is business-wise viable. That's driving the whole solar development. It is not that we as a country, as an establishment, doing something extra in pushing the solar in our grid. But yes, if we arrive at 175 gigawatt target, after that, definitely the grid stability, the so-called storage issue will be driving the further integration of renewable as well as solar. Now, when we are so gung-ho on the solar, I just want to highlight few issues which we have done not correct in terms have developed our conventional power, and we are doing the same wrong thing in solar. In today, though the tender document of our large-scale solar talks about environment-friendly recycle or disposal, but the PPA we are signing doesn't have that clause. So our project developer don't have that responsibility after project get 25 years of technical life, how that will be going to disposed or recycled.
Just hold for a second. Just hold for a second. Let me very quickly take a response of Mr. Sumon here. Sumon, what the Samrat has just raised the issue, what I think we call it extended producer's responsibility. What you are thinking about this solar disposals, Sumon?
This is one of the most critical challenges in front of the industry in the next 25-30 years, because if you see the kind of solar panels,
do you have the answer right now? Do the industries have the answer, or still searching for it?
Small steps are being taken, but certainly not a final solution.
Okay, great. Let's go back to Samrat. Let's go with Samrat. Samrat, fine.
Till we don't have the regulation making the industry or business participants responsible for it, they will not account the cost associated for it into the whole development process. And we'll be jumping on 1.99 rupees is so cheap. But we are again not internalizing our environmental and social costs.
Great. That's one part of it. And other points, what you mentioned?
Other point is the whole development of solar, though company and few other companies had put effort, and we have around 3 gigawatt of approximately manufacturing facility in India, and that's also not the full supply chain of the so-called sustainability. There are sales and ingots are getting imported. So in this whole development process, the co-benefit associated with this development, we are missing that. We are not getting job creation in our manufacturing facility because we are importing 80% of it.
So basically, 2 points you are making. I get 2 points you are missing. One impact of the environmental disposal of the huge solar installations, and also the import of such high level of import. We are talking about Make in India, but we are importing everything from outside, 60% to 80%. So that not catching up. Another point that many people are raising is kind of encouraging solar and also encouraging coal thermal power at the same time. That's also some people are criticizing. That's another point I think pretty important.
I just want to highlight on that point. Yes, that's a deficit on the policy side. We are having recently lots of coal block has been put on for auction. But if you see the investment side, the market has not responded.
So market is not responding to it. Yeah. Let take the point in other countries. That Aslam, it's very intriguing in India. You can find that how intriguing it is. But all said and done, Indian government has shown some positive vibes, some positive kind of pointers towards solar. No doubt about that. There may be procedural lapses. There may be other lapses. There may be big ticket installations, not really the rooftops. Those issues are there. But overall, an emphasis on solar. What is the government of Pakistan's policy on solar? How you see the policy? How proactive this is?
Yes, thank you so much. I think it's very interesting to see that this similar kind of things coming from the neighboring countries. When I hear from Samrat, and exactly this has been one of the, with regards to the combating, the ensuring the energy security in Pakistan, where the main problem for the provision of energy is the transmission and the distribution sector. So renewable definitely is where the government has taken up this policy, and of course the policy has been going on since long, and we have had implementation issues previously, and that particularly relates to the institutional coordination and of course political challenges that I would not like to go in about. But the main thing is that for now, this government, we do see lots of efforts being expeditiously done, and also with lots of incentives that are coming in for the investors as well as the consumer side. So what we see right now is a very good policy that has instituted and that has been approved by all, because it's energy is a provincial issue, and of course it's been approved after a year, which is the alternative renewable energy policy, which is specifically trying to have these ambitious plans to raise these targets of using the solar and the wind, and increasing the contribution of these in the energy mix for the future. That is of course integrated.
That is not.
Yeah. And just to also to reduce the tariffs that we have, electricity tariffs, to ensure the availability, reliability, and sustainability, the three principles that we all have.
Hina, tell me one thing.
Similar, yeah.
Okay, tell me one thing. Government policy is one part of the story. Another very important part of the story is the market approval. Because the private players have to bring money. Government cannot give all money for kind of upscaling solar. For example, in India, a lot of private market is pushing money. The big industrial houses in India are pushing money in solar right now. So what is the situation in Pakistan? Is it the similar case? Is there money being pumped in by the big industrial sectors out there?
Absolutely. We have lots of potential coming in, and the private sector who is kind of booming in. But the main source of the main sourcing and the manufacturing and of all these is coming from, I would say, China to the most. And that is where the issues are bringing in terms of how would we really ensure that renewables would be cost effective? Let's suppose in comparison.
So almost similar kind of situation, kind of.
Yes.
Okay. It's very interesting to find how our South Asian friends are kind of doing the similar line. Dr. Barua, I think in Bangladesh, there's a lot of controversies about the thermal power, Rampal and all. You know that. There's been a huge uproar. I have told that in recent time, the Bangladesh government has scrapped some of the thermal power industries, not for necessarily environmental reasons, but for the market non-approval. The money, the funding is also getting a bit of a problem. What's the situation in Bangladesh on thermal, and how, in contrast, you would like to push up solar and the local industry?
Yes, you mentioned a very important point. Actually, recently, government decided to gradually withdraw from the coal-based power plant. So they are looking for alternatives. But because the cost of is increasing and the funding availability of the international is also a problem, and recently government successful to become a developing country. So the policy pushing from the UN also that of clean energy. So I think government now decided change their mind. Now in the newly 5-year plan, called a 5-year plan from 2022 to 2025. Government mentioned in the document that so far we give only focus to the conventional energy, fossil fuel-based energy, all incentives, financing is there. Now we like to give attention to the renewable energy. So the government a little bit changing the policy. This is good. And also the UN also pushing some point for to become a sustainable developing country. The clean energy is also one of the issue. And the policy we adopted for last 10 years, 10%, but government, we are lagging behind only 3.25% we achieved because the electricity is growing very fast. So the percentage of renewable energy is relatively poor. I believe Bangladesh has a lot of chance because we build the biggest, largest solar home system program in Bangladesh. Irrigation we can build, and rooftop, we have 1 million houses coming up
every year.
So I think the rooftop net metering policy approved recently. I believe there will be a big push we needed. And the what Samrat mentioned about the disposal, we have also criticism about the solar home system, 6 million systems, 6 million. But fortunately, we find some solution. Now
so you find that from the government, there's a push up in the policy on solar.
Government policymaker also criticizing the solar home system is good, but there are 6 million battery in the house.
So, how you manage that?
Yeah, we now recently, not for last 5 years, we are have a recycling plan. So the people are collecting in a private sector, collecting the battery. They are getting around 35% cash payment.
Like the car batteries, that we do.
All batteries. So now there's a good.
That's a good policy. It's a very good policy.
Recycling plan is there. So they are extracting blade from this old battery.
Before I come to the Dr. Gon Choudhury, I think could connect, so I come back to him. But before that, a very quick question is that how is the private industry players are doing in Bangladesh? Are they pumping in money? Just like as I heard from Hina and also from Samrat, that there's the private players in India and Pakistan are pumping in money in solar. What's
India and Pakistan? I think Bangladesh is different because still our policy is not encouraging foreign investment yet, because we have almost 1,000 megawatt approved in the pipeline, but land procurement is a very critical.
So you can't have those big solar plants.
Big plant only for the
very interesting, absolutely interesting
rooftop. Also, the private player, the international player, also looking for a kind of law. If you are not paying the money for electricity bill, it will be disconnected. But if you put a solar panel for 1 megawatt, if some industry is not paying, then there is no law to disconnect or anything. So that's why
law is also an issue
going on. So it's not like a Pakistan or India, but still we are not getting any pumping of
very interesting.
Yeah.
Dr. Gonchoudhury, very interesting to hear the Bangladesh version. Can you hear me, Dr. Gonchoudhury? Am I audible to you? Dr. Gonchoudhury, can you hear me?
You are audible.
Great.
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. Your connectivity is a bit of an issue, but I think it's fine now. We can all hear you as well. We are talking about the policy part of it. And as I said, the government of India, all said and done, if one area where they need to be applauded is on solar because of the huge target they set up and also been doing a lot. But there is complaints that we are doing big tickets, huge solar plants, not the rooftops and others. In Germany, even a country like Germany has, much better than me, that how they have kind of done the rooftops. Just I heard from Dr. Barua that in Bangladesh, for the land issue, they are doing the smaller project. You know how important land is in this part of the world, especially in West Bengal, very state. So how it goes? So how you critically see the government of India's policy? This is the rooftop you were talking about. How you see this rooftop growing? 40 gigawatt is the target. We hardly did anything.
Rooftop growth of rooftop is not good. 40 gigawatt we are supposed to do. 40 gigawatt we are supposed to do from rooftop. But the policy of the government, you see the main problem, I should say, the distribution companies, they don't want to lose their revenue. And that is the reason, the distribution companies, they are insisting the regulators regularly that rooftop solar system should not be encouraged properly, so that net metering or gross
but Dr. Gonchoudhury, in a democratic setup, that's the role of the government. If the regulators don't want it, the distribution companies don't want it, government has to ensure the rooftop needs to be encouraged. As you keep on saying, I know for sure that how long you have been pushing it.
Yes, I do agree. But the point is, the solar sector is not very powerful because solar energy, from environmental point of view, it is very good. But from the power consideration, power sector, coal-based thermal power plants, they are very strong and their lobby is also very strong because they supply farm power, dispatchable power. Solar power is not farm power. So reason, the thermal power plants, the operators of the thermal power plants, they are dictating the regulators, So the regulators are also a little bit in, problem, and they are trying to promote solar energy, but due to pressure from the discoms, I think rooftop is not properly encouraged by the regulators throughout the country. Only 1 or 2 states are there where in India, at least I'm talking about India, only 1 or 2 states.
But very quickly, because your line is a bit of a hazy. One very quick thing is that I understand.
And other 1 or 2 Rajasthan.
No, I get your point, Dr. Gonchoudhury, that there are issues with solar power.
Rooftop solar power plants are encouraged.
But now we are having on-grid. Now we are having grid power. You can put solar into the system and get reliable power back. So the issue of standalone solar is no more that important that it was perhaps a few years back. Now I can have my rooftop solar power put into the grid and take the power from the grid. So there should not be an issue of the quality of the power. So what is preventing us from doing that?
No, the issue is, if suppose in the city of Kolkata, 450 megawatt is the rooftop potential. And if 450 megawatt of rooftop solar systems are installed, the total peak demand of Kolkata is 2000 megawatt, and 25 to 30% of the power, will be generated from solar power. Then what will be the revenue?
to put it in practice. Now this whole COVID business has pushed us back. In 2021, November, we are going to be having the next COP in UK, COVID willing. But how you see the politics of it? The US has come back. There's so many macro level political maneuvers. There's also the national maneuvers. How you see that? How politically this is being done? What do you see about it? And how you see in context to COP? Very quickly, Samrat.
I again want to go back on discussion on climate change and responsibility of various nations. As I want to go back to the issue of equity, go back to the issue of who is responsible. Though the Paris Agreement set a platform where every country voluntarily coming back, taking their stance. But if we see, even in their stance from the northern countries, we talk about net zero and substantial proportion coming from natural sinks of the forest, sinks of the sea, which is a natural, just bypassing their ultimate commitment or the commitment the world at this moment required to address this 1.5 degree, forget about 1.5 degree, at least 2 degree scenario. So we are again started talking in English or the language and try to bypass from the serious commitment. But from the developing countries perspective and the regional perspective, we should take this as a vehicle to leapfrog our development in a more sustainable way, and our energy sector should follow. Some of our country like India has...
Let me put it very straight, Samrat, that you have seen the NDC of government. How you want the energy part of the NDC be modified, and solar you want, because there's a lot of emphasis on solar already. What do you exactly want there? What the energy part in the climate COPs, and what
we know the number of NDC of 2022 and 2030 data. We don't know what's the government plan to achieve this 2030 data of 450 gigawatt. Till the baseline data is not published.
Okay, so there are data issues.
The plan is not published. It is very, it's just a communication. There is a communication without a plan.
There are communication gaps. There are communication gaps. Fine. Before I go to Dr. Barua and Dr. Aslam to talk about the respective countries' position on climate change and solar in the coming COP, very quickly take a business view out of it. Sumon, you were talking about how the whole industry grew over the last decade and all, with the COVID and everything. Now the challenges, when you were setting up this big ticket kind of thing and all that, what are the challenges you are facing? What according to you is the possible roadmap of growth for solar in South Asia, India in particular? Sumon.
Yeah, so I will start again with the market that I know best at the moment, which is India. I think the biggest challenge, the last 10 years have been great. The next 10 years, the biggest challenge is to localize and mature the solar industry. As various panelists have said on this discussion, 80 to 90% of our solar story is dependent upon imports. And solar will never get, like Mr. Gon Choudhury was saying, solar will never get a serious seat on the table unless it creates more jobs, is a responsible citizen of the country. And so I think manufacturing, supply chain, localizing all of these, ensuring that projects are built by local skill sets, these are some of the most critical things that are crucial for us to move forward in the next 10 years. I do not personally believe we have missed the bus on manufacturing and on solar panels. I believe there is a way to catch up. This government is doing a lot in terms of providing incentives or talking about providing incentives. The PLI, the production linked incentive that was announced just before the budget last year. I think those are some of these things, some of the things that we can really look at, putting in some tariffs for some part to protect the local industry and help it grow.
Okay. So local industry, decentralized local industry, capacity building, skill enhancement are the ways for you.
Are the ways to grow. I think the other thing that definitely comes up in our countries across South Asia is the weakness of our discoms and the distribution networks. And that creates issues because solar is
discoms
definitely
are really major issues, and also the mindset.
Exactly.
Barua, let's come into the Bangladesh. And Bangladesh is environmental and climate role is being well appreciated. And now you are in the now the developing country stage. Let me congratulate you publicly through you, the people of Bangladesh, that you have achieved. The UN has recently kind of approved Bangladesh's position in the developing country sector. That's a great news. Now, with this growth in economics, how do you see that you can manage these issues of environment and climate change in the coming days, solar in particular, and with this climate COP coming up? What do you think, how Bangladesh will respond to this in the coming COPs?
Thank you for your compliment, and really, and Bangladesh is very happy, but I believe we need a strong policy. What our P Gon Choudhury mentioned, the mindset is also a very big problem. That's why we are working hard how to change the mindset. Now, two big things happen. One is the cost of electricity is growing high. In the parliament, government decided to change the price of the electricity more than one time. It was only once a year. Now they decided by law, government can increase the electricity bill many times. So this is intention is there. The cost of electricity is going very fast, and the solar cost of production is going down and down. Even in the rooftop, we are economically viable. And now another thing is happening. The government become a developing country. There is a binding is there. You need to develop a clean energy, a percentage, which is very important. So government now recently, they changed their mindset to withdraw from the coal plant and also putting mind on the renewable energy. But we need a champion in this from the government side. Private sector, we have a lot of work we've done, but I am pushing for last 1 year in Bangladesh, pushing that we need a RE division, renewable energy division. We have the power division, electricity, the RE division that the renewable energy. But India is smart. For last 30 years, they have a Ministry of Non-Conventional Energy. So I'm pushing to renewable energy division leading to a ministry.
Even our states having a renewable energy ministry.
Yeah.
Even so the states.
We have a ministry. We need a, what you call a Bangladesh, Pakistan, India grew up in a kind of bureaucratic culture from the British we inherited. So you need a secretary, senior secretary, minister. Then you can do something in a budget. But there is no budget for the annual budget for the renewable energy.
So you need a head. You need a budget head.
We need a budget head. So that's why we need a renewable energy division and leading to a ministry. Then we have a guardian, a champion.
Are you people like you, who are the experts of energy in Bangladesh? Are you taking up with the government and the policymakers that to?
I think we will be successful because we are pushing in the right direction and we are raising the voice in such a way it will go to the top.
Great, you are raising the voice. Great news. Hina, what's the situation in Pakistan? How powerful is the voice of solar out there, and what do you feel that with the coming COP, how solar energy is going to be shaped up?
One thing I missed one thing.
Sure.
Another positive things, our Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina became a chairperson for the climate vulnerable countries for next.
Yes. That's a very advantage.
And 48 countries decided by 2050 there will be 100% renewable energy. So this is an inspiration goal. So all
that's
this
a very good goal.
Is really a positive note coming up.
Okay, fine. Hina, what is the scenario?
Yeah, again, great to see so many similarities across the region. And with this, I think just to highlight, as I previously mentioned, the government ambition to improve 60% of to integrate 60% of clean energy resources in the energy mix and by 2030 is the ambition that actually was picked up by UN, and the PM was announced to be among top 10 global leaders to showcase the climate commitment. So Pakistan, as you might be knowing, we are not the major contributors to the emissions, the greenhouse gas emissions. By being vulnerable to the impacts of climate change, we have this high commitment to meet the NDCs and also towards combating climate change. So in that effort towards COP26, as you might be aware that they have made an energy transition council where Pakistan, India, all the other, they're one of the countries.
Yes. Is Pakistan member of the ISA? Is Pakistan member of the International Solar Alliance?
Yes, I think so.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah,
Yes,
and also, so that is a major strive towards that. But again, I would not, I couldn't agree more with it, just calling it just a transition, because we have to look into the number of the power plants that have been developed, so commissioned so far, and the employment. So how would you actually ensure the transfer of those workforce towards the renewable energy sector now?
Okay.
That is one of the major sector that we are looking at, and the involvement of youth as well. So that is what we are preparing for 2026.
Okay, hopefully this coming decade will be great. Dr. Gon Choudhury, hope that your line is okay now. Can you hear me? Let me come up with the final question. What's being a senior pro in the solar power throughout this South Asia, in India? What is your prescription? Because we know now the market, till a couple of years from now, we were used to talk about the market is against the solar. The solar cost is so high and other things. Now, as Sumon been pointing out, the market is favoring the solar, but still there are some problems, some issues are there. So what's your prescription? What the government of India, not only India, Bangladesh and Pakistan, what's your prescription? Also a very important issue being raised by, I think, Samrat and all, that you need quality personnel to do the solar. When you are doing such a huge thing, you need professionals, but there are solar professionals being restricted. What's your point on that, Dr. Gon Choudhury? What's your prescription?
Okay, the point is very good. You see, all the countries, India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan, we are setting up a big target. But you see, the target can be achievable only if there is suitable policy. I find the policy of the government, all the governments, are not very attractive. So the target should tally with the policy. The policy, I think, policy issue is not addressed properly. The political blessing is very much required. I think in this SARC level also, and how we can achieve the target and how we can achieve our commitment towards emission reduction, which we have committed in the Paris Convention. So I
think we could hear a bit of it. Last part, I think, was missing because of the bandwidth issue. We have to kind of live with this. Before I wind up, just one line from all of you. Let me start with Samrat, and I'll be wind up with Dr. Barua. Samrat, according to you, how you see solar at 2030? Not the projection of the government, as Dr. Gon Choudhury just pointed out. If you need to put a target into actual reality, you have to have policy set up to back it up, as you said also, as all of you said. Where do you see solar in 2030 from now? Samrat.
I am not concerned about the numbers. When the
dominance.
Yeah, on-grid projects has achieved the market part. I am more concerned that government should support the off-grid, which has a lot of co-benefit associated with it. And we have to communicate it to make it a political agenda, because it has job,
great.
It has
livelihood, political agenda, off-grid political agenda, and also the other issues. Dr. Aslam, Hina Aslam, where you see solar 2030 at 2030 in reality, not in target?
Yeah, I mean, considering the target and the incentives that are pushing us as a consumer or as a user, I think we do see this scaling up with lots of technological advancements happening. Lots of, so in Pakistan, there is a lot of potential and it's booming.
And you see it to be growing.
Indigenization, yes.
Okay, great. Dr. Barua, very quickly, where do you see by 2030?
I see there is a very positive trend. Only we need an action plan. We have a
action plan.
policy, but
action plan.
But
you see it growing.
From the rooftop, from the irrigation, from the solar home system, from the utility scale, then you have action plan, and you need a champion or department to follow up the monitoring the action plan.
Okay, let me wind up with Sumon. Sumon, as an industry person, where do you see your business growing up in 2030?
I see solar and our business right in the middle of the energy transition and the new energy economy in 2030. I think our vision as a company is to put solar in every roof, as well as make solar mainstream. And I think that's well on its way. There will be hiccups. Yes, we will work on challenges. That's the fun of the next 10 years.
But it will be one of... Dr. Gon Choudhury, if you can hear me, 2030, very quickly, where do you see solar? Dr. Gon Choudhury, can you hear me? I think there's still issues with the bandwidth.
I can't.
Tell me.
Sorry,
No, please go ahead. I'm just a minute time to wind it up. Dr. Gon Choudhury,
yeah, I can hear you. Tell me the question again. Tell me the question again.
I'm asking you, where do you see solar at 2030?
I have some bandwidth problem, communication problem.
Do you see solar as a dominant power kind of combination in 2030? In India, at least? Well, I think this question goes unanswered in any way. We really do not know the answer. So that's quite symbolic that Dr. Gon Choudhury couldn't answer it. As Dr. Gon, all of you have pointed out very rightly that just putting up the target is not enough. We have to back it up with action plan, as Dr. Barua said, also the policy and also the mindset. And not only the mindset of the government, I think the mindset of the government, mindset of the industry, the DISCOMs, and the people at large. I really would have to take initiative to put up solar in my rooftop, and government policy needs to support it. If this do not go hand in hand, if there is not a marriage between the awareness and action, nothing is going to happen. So the target remaining target doesn't make sense. Solar is now market's favorite boy. Solar is now market's favorite boy. Let us kind of milk it and make it actually count down the line, not only to counter climate change, but I think good environmental practice, good climate practice means good economic practice. So that is perhaps the order of the day. With these words, let us wind up today, but another day, another time, we'll keep on discussing these issues. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you
very much.